If any of you have seen the movie Cast Away with Tom Hanks, you'll know that he develops a kind of a quirky relationship with a volleyball named Wilson because he's stranded on an island with nobody to talk to. Well, unlike Tom Hanks, I've got island fever. I've got island fever, and I haven't developed the relationship with Wilson, but I have developed a very close relationship with the coconut. Now, this is either weird or I've got a point about this. I moved to the Cayman Islands 4.5 years ago, and about 3.5 months in, I remember this like it was yesterday, I was running alongside the beach. And I was down to my last kilometer. I was absolutely exhausted, still getting used to the Cayman Islands heat. And then I struck the bright spot of my day. I came across some landscapers who were pruning the coconuts off the trees and loading them up in their trucks. And so I ran straight to the landscapers. I said, man, look, I'm dying here. Could you chop up a coconut for me? And he did. And it looked something like this. I wish I was getting a little bit more in me than outside of me. But nonetheless, I felt a little bit more refreshed. Now, before I continued on to my run, I had to ask one more question. I went up to the landscaper and I said, well, what are you going to do with the rest of these coconuts? And he said to me, well, we're going to use a few for our own use, but the rest are going to the dump. There were hundreds of coconuts on those trucks. So for the time being, I didn't think too much of it. I wish I could have taken a couple more coconuts with me, but that would have looked a little bit weird. I went home, I finished my run, and I forgot about the coconuts for the time being. But then later on that day, something hit me like a ton of bricks. I thought to myself, wait a minute, I'm in the Caribbean, and coconuts are going to the dump. And in North America, where I'm from, coconuts are trending worldwide. And by trending, I mean coconut oil lining the shelves of grocery stores, coconut milk and coconut water as well. And so I thought to myself, that doesn't sit well with me. As a nutritionist, dumping one of the most valuable foods in the Caribbean doesn't make any sense. And I went a little deeper to find out whether how long has this been happening for? And I came across an article that was written in the 1970s by a man named Dr. Joseph Jackman, who was urging the people of the Cayman Islands to reintegrate this food back into their diets because they were being wasted. And until this day, this trend continues. Now, when I chat with people here in the Cayman Islands, and when I ask questions, if you ask anybody, whether they are young or whether they are old, about the role of the coconuts in their lives, they might say something like this. I remember the scent of coconut oil from my grandmother's kitchen. If they are of an age of wisdom, they will tell you this. We used to use coconuts for everything that you could possibly imagine. We cooked with the oil and the milk, and we drank the water. It was the base for every dish. And today, they are going to the dump. Now, just like Dr. Joseph Jackman, I no longer want to see coconuts going to the dump. And I would hope that you don't either. And I want to talk to you today about the role that the coconut can play in the diets of the people in the Cayman Islands. I believe that it is the bright spot of the people of the Caribbean and the Cayman Islands. And by bright spot, I mean a successful and traditional practice that we all come across every single day. If you live here, you drive by thousands of coconut trees. It is accessible to you and I. And if integrated into our diets, it has the potential to improve the health and well-being of this country as a result of the immediate benefits that we get from consuming coconuts. But I want to take it one step further. I want to tell you that I believe that if we make the consumption of some form of coconut in some way every single day the national eating habit, it will not only improve our health, but help us create a health consciousness and lead to other improved aspects of our health. And I'm going to show you what I mean throughout the day today, throughout my talk, not throughout the day, or else we'll be here too long. So here are the health benefits. There are certain foods that replaced the coconut, and I'm going to talk about the first one. We drink too many sugary drinks. We know that there's been a direct link between the overconsumption of sugary drinks and diabetes and obesity. So the more soda, the more juice, the more fluorescent sports drinks that you drink, the more you increase your chances of getting type 2 diabetes and obesity. Throughout humanity's history, we only had water. But if you were lucky enough to be in the tropics or the Caribbean, you would have come across coconut water as well. And what's fabulous about coconut water is that it has half the amount of sugar. It's got fiber and vitamins and minerals and electrolytes, and that is why I felt so refreshed that morning during my run. If you change your drinking liquid and you opt out of drinking empty, toxic calories and replacing it with coconut water in the Caribbean, you can set yourself on a path to improve your health. Now on to my next example. And we're going to do an exercise together because I want to talk about vegetable oils and coconut oils. So just for a second, I want you to express gratitude for the largest organ of your body. I want you to touch your skin. Go ahead, touch your skin. Touch your skin. Express gratitude for the shield of your body, the largest organ. Now I want you to put your hand on your heart. And I want you to feel your heartbeat and express gratitude for the blood that flows through your body and keeps your organs alive. Now touch your head, shoulders. I'm just kidding. Stop doing it. The point that I'm trying to make is that when we consume or cook with vegetable oils derived from corn, soy, or cotton, or eat foods that have these vegetable oils, a famous author by the name of Michael Pollan, who's a New York Times journalist, has called these UFOs, unidentifiable food-like objects. So you got to get away from these foods. Now what happens is these vegetable oils disrupt the cellular function of your largest organs and lead to disease. And many of the diseases that we face here in the Cayman Islands can be attributed to the consumption of vegetable oils and the sugary drinks and whatnot. But here's the cool thing about being in the Caribbean. We have something called coconut oil. And coconut oil has fabulous benefits. And I want you to get an oil change because if you integrate coconut oil instead of the vegetable oils that I just showed you, you will feel the burn because you will increase your metabolism. Coconut oil kills bacteria and viruses and funguses by boosting your immune system. And there are countless other benefits that you can probably think about if you've come across coconut oil. Whenever I think about coconut milk, I think of a story of a man named Abraham who sent me an email once. He's from Kerala, India, which is actually known as the land of the coconut. And he said to me, you know, Tamer, Ayurvedic doctors for centuries have been prescribing half a cup of coconut milk to pregnant women because they didn't need the science. They knew that it would help with the development of the baby and the health of the mother during her pregnancy. So get an oil change. Integrate coconut milk into your diet. So what I want to talk about now is the idea of national eating habits. I said to you, by creating a national habit of daily consumption of some form of coconut in some way has the potential to improve your health. And I want to show you some examples of national eating habits all over the world. The lowest depression rates in the world are in Iceland. And that is because they consume some form of fish every single day in some way. Lowest depression rates in the world. That is their bright spot. If you go to Italy or Spain or Greece, you won't have a dish without some form of olive oil in your dish. That is their bright spot, and it is the reason why they have half the rates of heart disease that we do in the Western world. Coconut-eating countries like Southeast Asia and some in Polynesia are considered healthy countries. They consume copious amounts of coconuts and they are fine. So now, we have national eating habits. I hope you're sharing my excitement for coconuts. If you aren't, well, let's go through it. I want to tell you something. You have to understand how the power of habits works. I said something very ambitious. I said it has the potential to lead to other healthy habits. And I want to show how the power of habit works. And we're going to do this together. Who here would like to lose a little bit of weight or feel a little more energetic? I want a hand. Great. Thank you very much. All right. So here's what you're going to do. For the next 2 months, you're going to engage in some form of physical activity that you enjoy. And as a result of sticking to it and putting all your willpower in just the one habit of exercise, you will have the immediate benefit of increased energy and loss of weight. So now one more person, 2 more people actually. First example. Who here would like to save more money? Okay, I see some hands up. Okay, great. For the next 2 months, you are going to save 10 bucks a day, and at the end of the week, you're going to go to the bank, and you're going to bank it, and you're going to put all your willpower into this financial well-being exchange, and you're going to save more money. There's an immediate benefit to saving more money. All right, one more example. Who here would like to turn an A into an A+? Some of my students. Okay, fantastic. For the next 2 months, you are going to study every day regardless of whether you have homework or not. And that's all you're going to do. That's going to be your habit for educational well-being. And as a result of doing that, you're going to get an A+. So this is the immediate benefit of engaging in the habit, okay? So here's what happens. Now, the researchers who did this study in 2006 weren't looking for the immediate benefits because they knew that that would be it. What they wanted to see if other aspects of their lives would improve. And they noticed that if people focused on one habit, other aspects of their lives would improve. They saw that if people were smokers, they smoked less. They watched less television, they became more productive, and they ate less junk food. That is fascinating to me. As a health advocate, that is unbelievable that you can just not overwhelm yourself and just focus on one thing, that it can lead to other healthy habits. So you can pick whatever habit you want it is right now. But what about when it comes to the collective? When we're trying to change communities and changing the health of communities, what do? Now you can think of some examples. You can think of anti-smoking campaigns. You can think of anti-sugar and soda campaigns. You can think of promoting exercise. Those work in North America, but I don't think that they stand up to the fact that in the Cayman Islands, you've had something that has been historically called the tree of life. And that today the science has caught up with why it's always been called the tree of life. And so I believe that if we can create a health consciousness around coconuts and making it the national habit of the Cayman Islands, it has the potential to lead to other healthy habits. Because it is all around us. We have access to it. It is not complicated, and it has the potential to lead to other healthy habits. I want to leave you with a few notes. If you're not from the Cayman Islands, there are bright spots everywhere. And what I want you to do is look at the landscape of where you live. Look for the things that will resonate with the people who live in it. So communities and countries and cities and villages can find their bright spot, and I want you to let them be the gateway to other healthy habits. In the Cayman Islands, the coconut is the bright spot. The tree of life. Integrate it into your life and let it be the gateway to other aspects of your life. And don't let anybody ever tell you again that the coconuts are harmful for your health. Thank you very much. Cheers. Cheers.